Welcome to the Unblock Your Business podcast. I'm Abby Rogers, success coach, business coach and hypnotherapist, and I help high achievers and business leaders master their subconscious habits for success, income goals and, above all, happiness. But success isn't just about mindset or strategy. It's about combining both and sealing the deal with a big dose of subconscious alignment, because our subconscious holds the true key to unlocking our potential. Let's dive in and look at how you can show up bigger, better and more uniquely aligned in life and business today. Hello, welcome back to Unblock Your Business. This is episode 20, which can't believe that's like nearly half a year of doing my podcast every week. That is crazy, but yay me. I'm very pleased. So this week, the clue is in the title. It's all about simplifying. And I'm going to talk to you a lot today about my own experience here, which I'll go into in a moment. But I think there is a real tendency for us to do what we think we should be doing in business, rather than listening to our intuition and doing what really works for us. I've been a victim of that so many times, and we often blame procrastination, or we tell ourselves stories about our own mindset not being in the right place, which are only half true. There might be some truth in there, but I don't think it's always mindset that is the problem. So what if there was really nothing much wrong with your mindset, and actually you were just making things too big and too complicated? I think that's certainly been true for me in my business, and I see it an awful lot with clients as well. So what tends to happen is we see other people creating things and putting them out into the world, and we automatically assume then that we have to do things the way we've seen them done by everybody else. That doesn't necessarily happen as a conscious process. Very often we're just subconsciously absorbing this information about what a typical mastermind is, say, or a typical program. So it might be masterminds, it might be courses, it might be one-to-one programs. Maybe it's things like the way you write your blog or your emails even. We're just constantly like matching patterns in our brain to create this version of the world which is correct and how things should be. We are just so naturally driven to copy others subconsciously, and that's why there are so many 12-week programs out there. Hands up if you haven't seen a 12-week program. I bet there won't be many hands. And when we're creating our thing, then we start to cross-reference what we're doing with this big mental checklist we've got stored in the background. And we've got this mental checklist of how everybody else has done things before. And it's literally everyone else. Every time we've seen that type of program out there, we've referenced that, we've stored it away in our memory banks, and then we look at everything that we've taken on board. So we add in bits and pieces from everyone else's stuff that we think need to be included, because we're kind of convinced that adding more will make our program or our content better, and we need to tick all those boxes that everybody else has ticked. We're thinking to ourselves, well, if we're offering so much more, if I'm offering so much more, then surely it's going to be the biggest and the best program ever, and I'm getting this right, I'm doing it correctly. But that's not necessarily so. So I'm going to give you that example from my own recent experience. I decided earlier this year to launch a mastermind program. And that was because I wanted to scale my business and support more people than I could just by working one-to-one. I also wanted to offer things at a lower price point, because not everybody can make that leap to a one-to-one investment straight away. And I'd seen the power of group coaching in my own membership, where we do monthly group coaching sessions, which are phenomenal. But what happened? I looked at that mastermind and I started measuring it up against all the mastermind programs I'd been on and other things that I'd seen advertised in a similar vein, and it started to feel overwhelming deep down. I felt like I would need to create a lot of content, and I think I was subconsciously panicking that I wouldn't have the time to do everything I needed to do and create all that content, and I wouldn't have the time to deliver it as well as I wanted. And I was just basing what I thought a mastermind had to be on everyone else's programs, not on what felt right for me. Oh yeah, even mindset coaches are not immune to overthinking things and getting tied up in knots. So I put together a little bit of information about it and I had some interest. But to be honest, I just wasn't really into it as I should have been, and I wasn't promoting it as widely as I could have. And I kind of watched myself making excuses not to move forward with it. Now, I could have mindset coached myself through that and told myself to pull my socks up and get on with it and just get it out there. You know, you're hanging about, you're afraid of success. I could have started down that route and done some work to help with that. But I knew that wasn't really what was going on. Deep down, something wasn't quite right with this. So instead, I did some thinking on it and I looked at why that resistance was coming up for me, and I figured it out. It was because I wasn't completely in love with my own offering that I was putting out there into the world. So I don't know about you, but I'm just not somebody who can do things if they don't feel completely in integrity and like what I'm doing is giving my client the best possible outcome. I say I don't know about you, but I'm sure you're the same. In fact, if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you are much like me. And that's what was going on. So I realised that I didn't feel in integrity offering a mastermind that went through this very strict program of trainings where I was dictating the agenda and preparing set content every week, because I haven't found that really helpful to me when I've been a client in the past. Now, don't get me wrong, when I've done masterminds, a lot of the content has been really valuable, but I've also found I've had sessions where I've just been sitting there and thinking, well, I could honestly have done something much more useful with this hour of my time, and I'm kind of sitting there twiddling my thumbs and half paying attention whilst checking Facebook or something like that. And that's not great when you've invested reasonable amounts of money to have this wonderful coaching program. And I didn't want that to be the experience for my clients. And I also didn't want to just treat my participants as this group that were all the same, but as individuals working through their specific problems and giving them individually tailored tasks to really push them forwards in their business and meet them where they were on their journey. Now, I love a good workbook, but only when it feels really useful to me. So I think if I had to complete something like another ideal client exercise just because that was prescribed as part of the program, I might just have to go into a corner and scream. So I didn't want to be giving my participants tasks that weren't valuable to them as individuals. I know as a group program, it's easier to adopt that blanket approach, but I still feel like if you're investing in something that's really going to push you forward, you need that one-to-one, that kind of tailored content, even if it's part of a group program. For me, that's how I feel. The last thing was, I really didn't like the format that's very typical, this fixed start date and fixed end date. And I know that packaging your offers over a really set time period is the thing to do these days. And to an extent, people like to know where they are dates-wise. Fair enough. And let's face it, saying that you can deliver a specific outcome in a very specific time frame, it sells. It's popular. But what I've found is that if you're in a group program or mastermind, maybe not finding things as seemingly easy as some of the other people that you're with, or perhaps life has got in the way a little bit, or you just don't feel like you've got down to the root of your particular issues, all of a sudden you get to the end of the program and you're just dropped off a cliff and there's no more support and you're just kind of left hanging. And that doesn't really sit well with me, because sometimes people need support for much longer. People just do. And sometimes they're genuinely just in need of a bit of breathing space before they're ready to carry on, and they need to be able to take a break and gather their thoughts or sort out life before they're ready to make the next step. So I decided instead to make it a rolling program with a minimum commitment that people can just join whenever there's space available. And they can stay in as long as they want to get the results they're aiming for, and they can pretty much go month by month. So if 1 month is just a write-off, they don't have to do it. Because we all know our goalposts move, don't they? And life gets in the way sometimes. So that's where I found myself thinking I need to adapt this program, and I realised that it wasn't my mindset that was wrong at all. It was my offer. And it was just my intuition rather than fear. My intuition saying, don't go there, this isn't quite right yet. And that's why I was holding back. So actually this was coming from a very logical, sensible, helpful place, not that fear-driven place that is where we really need to work on our mindset. So just think about that with your offers and the things you're putting out there into the world. If you're struggling with them, are you really 100% in love with them, or is there a bit of doubt there? Do you feel like they are delivering the absolute best result and the best experience for your audience? Or is there something that needs tweaking to be a bit more U-shaped? If there is, go out there and tweak it, because when you do, you'll find it so much easier to communicate just how amazing your offer is, and you'll find that things start to sell without you even having to sell them. So what I did was I did all my tweaking, got my program looking as I wanted it to look, and then announced my Rethought Mastermind in my membership recently. And without having to do any promotion at all, already 3 of the 6 available spots have been snapped up, which just shows that when you are completely in integrity with your offers, then people really know that it's coming from a place of genuine excitement about what you can do for them. And it really does translate. We can try and sell things that don't feel quite right, but it just doesn't quite connect. So that's my little tip for how you can start to really move forward with getting things out there. Just have a bit of a check-in with whether it's 100% right for you. If you are interested to know more about the program, it's called the Limitless Mind Business Accelerator, and it kicks off in November. Now I'm going to start promoting it much more widely over the next couple of weeks. So if you want to know more before that happens, then just head to the link in the show notes and you can see what it's all about. Thanks so much for listening and have an amazing week. Take care. Thanks for listening. I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, it would be incredible if you could pop a review on iTunes, Google, Spotify, or your favourite podcast platform. And if you want to dive deeper, you can find me in my Facebook group Unblock Your Business or at www.unblockyourbusiness.com.